So the reason I ask you hit Salesforce. G2 has a lot of good intent data and whatnot. We're building up our G2 profile at Identity. You're working at Mountain, which is smart TV ads, from my understanding. You know a lot about ad tech. So first of all, what are the trends or changes that you see happening in 2024? And I'll preface that by saying demand gen's getting more expensive. Ads are getting more expensive. Everyone's complaining about it. You have to spend 50% more than you did for the same results. What do you see that's good? What do you see that's bad in 2024?
Yeah. I think the good is people are looking to diversify a bit more. Pretty much everyone across all industries has been heavy in paid search, heavy in social. And what we're hearing and seeing is things are getting a bit more saturated. And to your point, you're just getting less for more, right? Like you're not even hitting the same numbers you used to because everybody's doing this. Everyone's looking for a way to stand out. That's a new social media channel, something like streaming TV or podcast, or really investing now that the world's kind of back open post-pandemic in trade shows and conferences. So people are looking to at least diversify their marketing mix a bit more to find that new way to grow instead of just being stagnant and contained. I think on the not so good side is it comes with a lot more scrutiny. When I was at G2 and I was selling the CMOs and marketing leaders, for the most part, they kind of own the budget. And if they gave you the green light, like you're good to go, man, it's been a beating in 2024. If I'm not aligned to finance or the sales team or legal or some other department and decision maker outside of like marketing or sales, it gets a lot tougher. Those deal cycles become a lot longer. If I'm starting to repitch sometimes to like, the CFO who historically wasn't involved in a lot of deals, right? So it just, even though things are becoming a bit more diversified, or looking to spend more, who's actually involved in the final decision is becoming just a lot more aligned to other departments.
That's not a good start. I'm cutting that out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to GTM Secrets. You just missed me almost dying. We talk about everything sales, marketing, RevOps, you name it, anything go to market, primarily for B2B. Today, I have Brandon Pascal on here, and I think we're going to have a very interesting conversation. Brandon, you have a very interesting background. We were just talking about it a little bit, but go ahead and give a quick, brief on yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. I'm Brandon. I've been a seller for the better part of the last decade or so, working at the likes of Salesforce, G2, Amazon, currently with Mountain, all client-facing roles, and just have a lot of experience in tech, ad tech, martech, whatever you want to call it.
So I'm actually curious, first of all, when it comes to Amazon, I don't think of them primarily as ad tech, right? You think of AWS or you think of the Amazon Marketplace. What were you actually doing there? Were you selling people like e-com companies and selling on the Amazon Marketplace, or what was it that you were selling?
Yeah, it's funny because Amazon really is everything. They have Amazon Pharmacy and have Amazon, like it really is a one-stop shop for all sorts of commerce. I was on the ad sales team. I believe it was formerly called Amazon Media Group, but largely helping those brands who do sell on Amazon optimize their campaign, because Amazon's ecosystem is very similar to like Google, where you're paying for search, you're paying for branded video, you're paying for different tactics. And even with Amazon's entire network of podcasts and streaming TV, like you can have a full service marketing suite with just Amazon and on Amazon's site. And on top of that, there are also other brands that couldn't sell on Amazon, say like, a credit card company or automobile dealership, right? You can still use their data to target people across Amazon's DSP, across all the internet, to target those people who are in market for, credit cards or cars, whatever it may be. Because Amazon's data. Yeah, the way I always positioned it in my talk track was, Google knows where you are on the internet, Facebook knows where you are and who you are as a person, Amazon knows where you spend money. So that data is very powerful because we know what you're buying.
That's very true. And you don't even work there, but good plug for Amazon. I like it. So you've worked at a number of places that are interesting, all ad tech or primarily. What segment at Salesforce were you in?
Yeah, I was an SDR there. So just very, very entry level as far as the sales team, working on the inbound team. Definitely a great place.
Primarily?
Yeah, yes. So sales cloud, but we facilitated all various levels of Salesforces, whether it was MuleSoft or Marketing Cloud, whatever it was. Primarily, Sales Cloud was the main driver, obviously, but anything involved in Salesforce were the inbound team.
Makes sense. So here's my next question. You've been in enterprise companies like Salesforce. You're primarily in mid-market. I know Mountain is what, 200 people or so, 150?
I think closer to 500, actually.
Well, then you guys should up your LinkedIn page. You're definitely mid-market. What do you see? But I assume you've sold many times into SMBs. What do you see mid-market doing that SMB should take note of?
Yeah, is that like internally or like externally?
How should they be selling and marketing differently? Are mid-market companies better at segmentation, at data? Are they better at messaging? What are some things that they simply do better than the 50-person B2B tech company?
Yeah,
I know.
I think
Will be question.
no worries. I think it goes both ways. So I think from a positive perspective, my experience being at mid-market companies, selling to other commercial mid-market companies, is that they do a very good job of like having their, ICP clearly defined for the most part. Like we know this is our sweet spot. You may have growth goals and places you want to go, but we know we have to maintain this segment and growth in this segment to, keep our lights on, so to speak. As opposed to like an SMB where, they still maybe don't know what they don't know or are trying to figure it out and kind of casting a wide net, or, not having the resources to do so. But mid-market pretty much knows like, this is where we win. We're going to keep winning here. It's like the go-to jump shot or the pay to touchdown. They have that in their playbook already. Where I think SMBs, and it goes without saying, have a bit more of an advantage is they're a bit more agile. SMBs who do have a good leadership, built out and have the resources, or at least various budget to do so, tend to move a bit quicker, and that's where you can win and grow and scale. Time kills all deals. Decision making slows things down. SMBs are a bit more agile, where I feel like mid-market companies are beginning to operate a lot more like enterprise. Again, with that same level of scrutiny and red tape, just to kind of get things done, which doesn't really need to be in all times.
I would agree, and I will say yes, agile. Like at Identity Matrix, our roadmap is like 4 to 6 weeks out because it changes every damn day. But it can go to the extreme. I'm hardcore ADHD, and I switch things up so much. My team would love to murder me. I call it squirrel syndrome, right? Is squirrel or dog sees a squirrel, oh my gosh, got to go after it. So it's a blessing and a curse, I will say. But what I heard you say that mid-market does really well is, okay, they got through the agility, but they know what works. We're just going to focus on our core competency. Whereas startups often, and I'm a culprit of this, try to be all things to all people, I think, way too much.
Yeah. I mean, in all things, even outside of business, if you're going to get so much more out of mastering one thing, putting all your efforts into one thing and becoming extremely great at that. And that's how you grow and scale and build reputations in whatever space you're in. Even at Salesforce, what I give them credit for, more than some of the enterprise companies I've worked at or have peers that worked at, they had a saying, we're like a cruise ship that maneuvers like a jet ski, right? So it's a big conglomerate organization. They make changes like overnight. I'll never forget when they rolled out the Lightning version, the most up-to-date version of Salesforce. I was there for that. And it was just like, hey, internally, we're using Lightning now. Like SDR, sorry, like this is the thing we're doing now. And it's same for our customers. It was all shifted overnight. Granted, in the long run, it worked out better. Definitely some learning curves, but the ability to just pivot, in real time, make those changes happen, it is more aligned with like a SMB or smaller company, but allows them to win sooner, faster.
I don't know about you, but for the first 48 hours, I absolutely despised Lightning after being on Classic for years. About 48 hours of wanting to smash my computer. And then I said, okay, this does make more sense. It's pretty awesome. Now I'm a Salesforce nut. But I thought it was completely just god awful at first.
I would say it was longer than 48 hours for me because my job was dependent on being able to move fast and schedule meetings and get through all these leads that were coming through as fast as possible. And now I have to learn a whole new language basically overnight. So I felt your pain definitely longer than 2 days, for sure.
Well, it was probably like 40 hours straight or close to it, but I hear that. Talk to me at Mountain, you're senior AE. You mentioned that you have BDRs and SDRs that obviously get you appointments, but you do some of that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Demand gen is becoming more and more difficult. And when I think TV ads, I immediately think consumer, right? With massive budgets, and you're hiring the likes of Omnicom or Publicis or McCann, whatever, to build out those ads. How do you grab someone's attention, particularly on the B2B side, saying, "Hey, I can help you run TV ads"? Like, what's your outbound strategy?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a multi-pronged approach, especially on the B2B side. Like, most buying is done by committee. Obviously, there's a decision maker and like someone's going to actually pull the string, so to speak. But people are buying by committee, so you want to have a multi-pronged approach for reaching like the C-suite as well as like the middle managers and VPs and everything else. And eventually, you kind of hone in on who actually respond and book the meeting for you, right? And then again, trying to multi-thread. Once you get that first introduction, like you want to have as many stakeholders in the calls as possible. As you've probably seen over the last couple of years, like layoffs are things, so you might have inroads with the person, at the finish line. Next, you're saying, hey, you're no longer at this company, right? That happens, or just jobs change, priorities change. So, being multi-pronged as far as your initial outreach, but also continuing to multi-thread throughout the process to make yourself stickier. Also, do better discovery and learn more about what impacts different roles and different teams. But just in case things go bad, you have other people to bounce things off of. Thinking candidly, any deal that I've like lost for the most part, either I wasn't multi-threaded or wasn't multi-threaded enough and close to power, So booking those meetings is almost as difficult as navigating the accounts internally as well.
Now, whether it's you or your BDR team, are you guys cold emailing, cold calling, LinkedIn, all the above, something completely different? Like, what's the outbound approach?
Yeah, it's definitely all the above. I think one thing that, we collaborate with our SDRs pretty heavily is, things change. I've been here 2 years now. I think when I first started, LinkedIn was the bread and butter. People were booking meetings at the right on LinkedIn communication, right? Then that slowed down. Then it became old school. Pick up the phone, cold calls. Cold calls were working. There was a point in time where both LinkedIn and cold calls were working. Now it's back to email. So it varies. So I think what I've seen is, just being able to pivot and being able to be good at kind of all things. Some of the SDRs, some of the AEs are really good at cold calling, not so great at emails, vice versa. And throughout all the different approaches, I think the name of the game of people who do really well is personalization, making sure I'm speaking to what Steven's looking for, his pain points, his gain points, like what is making his day-to-day, good or bad, right? Again, you want to have some touch. Template emails are great, and like newsletters and updates are also fine too. But the ones that really book the meetings are like, hey, we solve X for you, let's get some time together.
So, all right, and here's the last topic I want to go to. Yeah, normally this isn't a pitch fest by any means, but I am very curious. So identity, I mentioned we de-anonymize, we can see who's on the site, etc. And I didn't actually come up with the idea, but because we get home addresses for prospects that were on your site, one of actually my prospects, an open opportunity, told me that they've tried it in a different format, but they have ran smart TV ads to people at home. And we're thinking about doing the same thing, seeing as we have addresses for everyone on our site, or at least the majority. But when I think, again, TV ads, I'm thinking VaynerMedia, Omnicom, McCann, that sort of a deal, right? How accessible, seeing as Mountain does this, for a living, how accessible is B2B advertising for the average, SMB, if you will?
Yeah, I think that's part of the magic of Mountain. We want to democratize it. Anybody that wants to be on streaming TV and serve ads can do so. Our platform is low barrier to entry, self-serve. We're not requiring a significant investment or even contracts in most of the cases. It's very much self-serve. So anyone that wants to be on TV can be on TV. From a B2B perspective, the real magic for us, and you mentioned it earlier, when you watch TV, you think consumer, you're going to get ads for clothes and vacations and food and everything else, right? So if I'm a product marketing manager and I need a new product marketing software and I get an ad in between watching my favorite show for product marketing, wow, that's really going to resonate. Now I'm more likely to, click on that ad when I do see it in paid search, or look them up on LinkedIn, or go to your site and book that demo. Because, like, one, TV as a whole, no matter what it is, we all hate ads. It's not lost on me. I get it. But there is a prestige about being on TV. There is a better brand recall about being on TV. I think a lot of times we try to tune out as much advertising as we can. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes you actually enjoy TV ads. Kind of break up the monotony of binge watching shows. It can be entertaining, right? So being on TV is the best awareness you can get. But when it's hyper targeted to me and my use case and things I'm in market for, I'm looking for, that's not a bag of potato chips or a pair of shoes. Like, it makes you stand out that much more. We have a stat here that brands that run CTV with Mountain will see a significant lift in paid search conversions as well as social media conversions. So the proof is in the pudding. We want to get more out of what you're already doing. But my belief is the real magic is in the target. So if I'm a CMO or an engineer or whatever it is, and you're selling the exact right solution for me, and see it on TV, however you want me to engage with you, whether that's one line or in person, I'm more likely to do that now because we call that brand.
Well, so I want to get tactical in a second with that, but I think in general, sales and marketers look at last touch attribution, and we're talking about sales. I'm using marketing lingo, but they look at the last touch that triggered the conversion. It's like you're never going to get a voicemail back from a cold call, hardly ever, maybe 1 out of 1,000, but your email rate goes up. You can target, Facebook ads, people that went to your site, even for B2B. Are you going to get a Facebook conversion? Probably not. But the next time you call or you email, it's likely to go up, et cetera, right? Or they Google you, they hit a search ad. Now they convert, but it was because they saw you 84 times on Facebook or email, whatever. So I think people are short-sighted. But when it comes to B2B TV ads, talk to me. The biggest thing that comes to my mind is not the CPM, cost per impression. It's not your ad platform cost or whatever ad platform someone's using. It's, holy crap, I got to have an awesome video. How true is that? What do they need to put into production, so on and so forth? Because again, it feels so far out of reach.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to undersell it. You do not need amazing creative at all. I'm never going to sit here and say it doesn't make any difference at all whatsoever. Again, the real magic is in the targeting. Our best practice comes down to two things, two very simple things. Because it's streaming TV, and we actually can't measure like the visits we drive to your site and the clicks and conversions we drive to your site through our platform. But because it's streaming TV, have your URL displayed prominently throughout the commercial. So if they're on mute, not super locked in, they still know where to go if you do pique their interest. And then in the voiceover, have a very direct call to action. Visit the website now, book a demo today, sign up, whatever you want that to be. Doing those two things, doesn't matter if it's live action, if it's animated, if it's funny, entertaining, or more educational, whatever it is, those two things are like the real deal breakers. I've seen examples of people having a really, almost Hollywood level production for a commercial, and then like, don't tell folks where to go, don't tell them who they are, don't tell them what they want them to do. And it's like, you entertain them for 30 seconds, great, but you're not really helping your sales and marketing team driving them to your site. So it's low barrier to entry. If you can get a quality video that you're proud of, 15, 30-second ad length, URL, call to action, you're good to go.
How important is it? So have you seen companies do it small companies do it in-house? So like if I'm a SaaS company, which I am, have you seen people do like quick product demos, obviously have a person involved, et cetera, but have you seen people pull it off doing it in-house and low budget? Or do almost all successful ads need to be well-produced, Hollywood publishing, that sort of a deal?
No, I think some of the best ones are the people that do it in-house and, don't max out the budget at first. The cool thing with a platform like ours is you can test. So, don't invest significantly on the front end to figure out what works, even from a creative standpoint. Run multiple forms of creative and then validate what resonates the most with your audience by segment or whatever. Then the second go around, so we do encourage, if you're going to treat CTV as a evergreen strategy, doing a refresh every quarter at the very least, right? So for that first quarter, just test, see what works. Again, I feel like the best marketers across any vertical, enterprise, SMB, whatever, they open-minded, are willing to experiment because they know there's not one magic bullet that's going to solve everything for them, right? So come into that first go-round with the test, validate, learn, and then Q2, if you want to, really have a next-level production or something super fancy, go for it. But now this is who our audience is, this is who's engaging with our ad, this is what they respond to the best with. There's no reason to really, dive in with a full-scale production. But then, again, to our earlier point, the more agile you can be, and that's typically in-house, and a bit more hands-on keys as far as the creative, the better a lot of times.
How the hell do you track clicks and whatnot from a TV ad? That doesn't make sense to me. You just said that you could. How?
Yeah, let me specify this. So we're tracking web activity. So the way our platform works is pretty straightforward. We're targeting via the household IP. So once that ad is served, there's a visit window for the household and devices tied to that household. And throughout that visit window, we can see if they went to your site, if they, signed up for a demo or became a lead or whatever it is. So as long as we can serve an ad,
There's some limitations. I get it. If I watch it at home, then I go to work, I'm on a different IP. You're not going to be able to attribute that necessarily, but I think I get what you're saying.
even in that example, the only thing we eliminate from our outreach is like commercial IPs. So we only target household IPs. So you can still browse outside your home, but we wouldn't be able to follow you, out or serve an ad outside of, household IP.
How do you match? Do you only take IPs? Do you do home addresses? Like, what is the actual match mechanism?
It is just home-based IPs. That is it. And then if we're retargeting, we'll use the pixels that are on your website to measure as well too. But outside of that, it's just home IPs. So how we do that, that is above my pay grade. That's why I'm a salesperson. I'm on the front lines here, but it's all just home IPs for us.
For the record, I can't code jack. I run a tech company and I don't even know how it, I mean, conceptually, I know how it works, but you show me our GitHub and I'm confused.
Yeah,
No, I get it. That makes sense. Again, B2B TV just sounds wacky, but I definitely see the efficacy of it for sure.
I will say when I joined 2 years ago, that was the main objection is like, this does not make sense for us. And then they see our targeting and they see how granular they can be as far as who they're serving their ads to and the capacity of measurement. That's changed. We have so many more competitors in the space. Even a brand like LinkedIn is now offering a CTV component to their ad
I
suite,
didn't know
right?
that.
So that's been a very common, brand that's been brought up in recent calls that I've had. So, I think a lot of people will be scared of that. Like, oh God, like Microsoft is now, entered the game for CTV. It validates it. It means we're doing something right. So, I've been to conferences and trade shows with Mountain speaking about CTV and seeing the response there. The tide is turning. The tide is turning, and the brands who are adopting it now are kind of on the cutting edge of it, are doing really well and seeing the returns early. But the tide is definitely turning as far as B2B adopting this as a main channel that we use in their marketing.
Makes sense, man. Well, hey, Brandon, we keep these short and sweet. I love it. I think this is going to be super interesting for a lot of people. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, follow me, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my main source. I'm not a big social guy. So if you see me or any of my posts on LinkedIn, feel free to connect. I'm always happy to chat, help, connect, whatever makes the most sense.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate having you on. Go connect with Brandon on LinkedIn. But I think that's unless there's anything else you want to add, I think that's awesome.
No, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. And obviously, good luck to you guys. Hopefully, you can see you continue to get, more customers, more growth, more funding, whatever it is you're looking to do.
Appreciate it, Matt. We're done.
Awesome. This is my first podcast, so I just want to make sure you have everything